Good evening. This is Earl Sparrow with CTV Politico. We're going to be live and direct. We have Councilman Sims in the house tonight, and we're just going to spend an hour with the councilman. A lot of things happened over the last few days. Just most recently, there was an event we're going to be covering. A young man, a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, got beat up pretty bad. We're going to definitely stay on that and talk about a lot of other issues. But specifically tonight, we're going to be talking with Councilman Sims coming up in Ward 3. I invite you to stay, relax, watch Politico Facebook, and put comments. We'll look at them during the interview, during the breaks, and we'll probably get a chance to ask Cost Hour coming. CTV Politico.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
Hello, I am Attorney Joe North, and I want to once again congratulate the Delta Sigma Theta sorority on all of the great work that it is doing in the communities across this nation. You know, I have been handling personal injury cases for 25 years, and people ask me questions each and every day about personal injury cases. These are some of their questions.
If someone is in a car accident, how does he or she know that they have a case?
You may have a case if the other car was at fault and you were injured because of their fault. But even if you are partially at fault, if the other car is also partially at fault, then you may still have a case. But the best thing to do, just give me a call. Let's talk about it.
What types of compensation may be available in a personal injury case?
In a personal injury case, whether we're talking about a slip and fall case or a car accident case, you may be entitled to payments for lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering. And we can get that either by settlement or taking your case to trial.
Where's your office located?
My main office is located in Fort Myers, a city in which I am proud to say I was born and raised. I also have an office in Fort Lauderdale, but my motto is, briefcase will travel. I handle cases throughout the entire state. I go wherever I am needed.
One more question. How much do you charge to handle a personal injury case?
More good news. My clients do not pay me any attorney's fees or costs unless we win. So give me a call. Call Attorney Joe North.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office we are experts in federal tax law. Many of you do not like to deal with the IRS, but you know what? I love it. And we are very successful in dealing with the IRS. So if you have any tax questions concerning your individual taxes or business, please give us a call at 239-693-8428 because we can solve all of your tax problems. Thank you.
Welcome back. Once again, we are live in Fort Myers on the 18th. This is my alphaversary, 85 brothers, 8 years. So I'm excited to get out of here. But we have Councilman Sims here tonight. We're going to be talking with him. We did extend an offer to Ms. Terrell Watson and Ms. Mildred Barnes, the other Ward 3 candidates. We did not hear back from them that they will be able to participate. And CTV Politico is not in favor of endorsing any candidate by any means necessary. Nobody on our production staff actually even live in Ward 3. So I want to get that out there. That's my disclaimer. We're all about CTV. We're all about getting the news to the community and spreading it and making sure it's not I think he said or I heard he said. You can actually watch the video on our YouTube channel and watch what we talk about. We archive it every week. We're on the show. So we're sad that the other 2 Ward 3 candidates could not come. That'll be something that we will talk about pretty soon in this hour with Councilman Sims. But we want to welcome Councilman Sims. Thank you, sir, for coming on again.
Well, just glad to be here, and just glad to talk about issues that impact our community, and that's pretty much what we'll be doing tonight.
I have to go full disclosure. We are both Rattlers, FAMU alumni Rattlers. We are members of the FAMU Alumni Association. We are both members of Mount Olive AME Church, and he picked the wrong way. We both got old gold somewhere in our fraternity. He went purple and gold. I went. We love the Omegas and the Kappas and the Qs and even the Iotas sometimes. I got you there, Jason. Dimitri Iota. But tell us, we know that it's getting kind of close. March 31st is around the corner. Yes. It's rapidly approaching. How's the election season, how's that going for you so far since the last time we talked?
The election is basically just like most elections. The only difference is we haven't been able to get the issues out there like I think we should have. There are issues that, basically impact our community. So elections and debates, I think, are a good way to address those, find out how candidates feel that they're going to solve problems that are in the community. So elections and debates are pretty much, that's pretty much their purpose, I guess you might say.
I guess my question is how, this is your third election, 8 years?
Well, actually it's 8.5, but yes, this is I was appointed this last time. I was appointed for 90 days, and as the charter says, in a 90-day appointment, you must call for a special election within that 90-day period, and that's why we're pretty much having that according to the charter, the charter of the City of Fort Myers. Yeah.
So this is kind of different for you, right? Because you're ready to debate anytime, anywhere, but that hasn't happened yet.
Like I said earlier, debates are good, not only for the candidates, but for the community itself, because the community gets to ask about issues that impact the community. So I think there always should be debates.
You had debates the first 2 elections?
Had debates, first 2 elections. I debated Dr. Knight. I debated, I think, the second candidate. I can't think of her name right now. But, we did have debates. Matter of fact, we had a series of debates each time. Mm-hmm. So, but
St.
John, Friendship, the Enterprise Center, the Universal Church. Mm-hmm. I think that's the name of it.
Down in Evans, right?
Yeah. So we've always had debates, but for some reason, now we're not having that. We don't, for some unknown reason, we haven't gotten to that point, I guess.
There is on NAACP is going to have a political forum for Ward 3 candidates at 10:30 Saturday, March 21st. That's this Saturday, March 21st at the Enterprise Center where CTV is located. It's going to be a little further up front. If you want to be informed Ward 3 candidates, please come and attend. Be able to ask your questions. And are you confirmed to be there?
I'll be there. I'm not, I have nothing to hide. We always talk about transparency in politics, and transparency, accountability. I guess this is the forefront. If this is a chance to meet candidates face to face, up close, ask your questions, and form your opinion.
In your opinion, what is the hardest transition when you first became a city councilman? What was your first day of the job? What was the biggest transition that you had to have?
Well, at first I was thinking about Robert Rules over, but that was not it. What's so unique about working on council? There's a lot of what I call legalese. Instead of saying that, we're going to cut down the tree, it's written in a legal form. So you have to pretty much interpret that. And of course, I didn't have, a lot of experience in doing that because I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I was a school teacher for 35 years. So the legalese, little things like what is a PUD and, things like that, all that was a part of the learning process. But we do have what we call EMO. EMO is kind of like a workshop. It, for local elected officials, you go and you have something like a retreat. It teaches you about parliamentarian procedure. It teaches you about how to do budgets, things like that. So it's important that you go to EMO. And there's like 2 sessions. You can have a beginning EMO and then you have advanced EMO. And most people who get into politics, especially on the local level, will attend these sessions and the sessions are basically done by the University of Central Florida. And you attend, it's usually a day, you travel up, you have a session in the morning, a session in the evening, and you're there. It basically teaches you not only about local issues, but how to address situations on the state level also. So that's, once I did that, I felt comfortable because if you're dealing with an $18 million budget, you have to have some kind of understanding. Also, have an understanding of how you work, because in the end, you only one vote, how you work with the other 6 people that's present there to get things done in your area or your community.
Yeah. How is it done? How important with the mix of the council members is the art of compromise as far as the 6 votes and trying to get would need
Yeah, well, there are things that not just common to your particular ward. There are things that are common to the whole city of Fort Myers. If we talk about water issues, for instance, that's not just Ward 3 body. So you basically are working for the city, yeah. I mean, you're working for your ward, yeah, but the city of Fort Myers, which is inclusive anyway. When you talk about pension reform or contracts for the firemen and the police and non-contracted workers and things like that, that's not a Ward 3 issue. That's a issue that's for the city. Now, the idea when you're talking about getting something for your ward, we have what we call strategic planning. Okay, and strategic planning basically say, okay, we got X amount of dollars in this pot right here. And what you want to do is get your pet project out of this pot and say, okay, I can give you a project, but you also got to identify the resources to get this done. So if you can convince your fellow councilman that this is important, then 9 times in 10 you'll get it. But you got to be patient, because if you don't get it in the CIP, and that's the capital improvement program, if you don't get it this time, maybe you get it the next time. So it's a matter of compromise, timing, working with your fellow councilmen. All of that plays into getting things done for your constituency.
It's weird for me. Again, I'm not from Fort Myers, and there's no ward system in St. Augustine, where I'm born and raised. But how, because there aren't Democrats and Republicans and all that independence on the board, because you guys are non-party affiliated for this position, correct?
Yes, that's true.
So how do we, is it, how do I say this? Is it a strike against you that you actually have experience? Do you feel that that's kind of playing against, people are so anti-establishment right now, with Kirk Clausen winning and Trey Radel winning and everything else like that. How do you combat that? Because I don't have any idea. I'm not a politician. I'll be a great politician.
Well, the way I see the whole thing is, just like you have great politicians or good politicians or whatever, I look at the voter themselves. You have to be a well-informed voter. You can't just vote for a party. Mm-hmm. You have to vote for a person who basically represents your interest. So in a case like that, you're talking about people on the national level, people on the state level and things like that. A lot of those people are beholden to the party itself, because the party bosses basically help finance their campaigns.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to come back. We're going to start right there. When we come back, we got a lot more to talk about, a lot of other things going on in the city of Fort Myers. CTV Politico. We'll be right back.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
Hello, I am Attorney Joe North, and I want to once again congratulate the Delta Sigma Theta sorority on all of the great work that it is doing in the communities across this nation. You know, I have been handling personal injury cases for 25 years, and people ask me questions each and every day about personal injury cases. These are some of their questions.
If someone is in a car accident, how does he or she know that they have a case?
You may have a case if the other car was at fault and you were injured because of their fault. But even if you are partially at fault, if the other car is also partially at fault, then you may still have a case. But the best thing to do, just give me a call. Let's talk about it.
What types of compensation may be available in a personal injury case?
In a personal injury case, whether we're talking about a slip and fall case, or a car accident case, you may be entitled to payments for lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering. And we can get that either by settlement or taking your case to trial.
Where's your office located?
My main office is located in Fort Myers, a city in which I am proud to say I was born and raised. I also have an office in Fort Lauderdale, but my motto is, briefcase will travel. I handle cases throughout the entire state. I go wherever I am needed.
One more question. How much do you charge to handle a personal injury case?
More good news. My clients do not pay me any attorney's fees or costs unless we win. So give me a call. Call Attorney Joe North.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office we are experts in federal tax law. Many of you do not like to deal with the IRS, but you know what? I love it. And we are very successful in dealing with the IRS. So if you have any tax questions concerning your individual taxes or business, please give us a call at 239-693-8428 because we can solve all of your tax problems. Thank you.
Welcome back to CTV Political. I'm your host, Earl Sparrow, and we have in the house Councilman Sims. Thank you for sharing some experiences and things that kind of got you to where you are now as far as being on the council. The question now is, how long is this special election? Are you finishing up? Is it part of a term, and then you're going to have to go through it again next year, or how long is?
Actually, a term is 4 years.
Okay.
I think after the election, there'll probably be 2.5 years left on in that particular term.
Okay.
So right now, I'll be serving the rest of a term.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, did you revamp your campaign platform from the first time you ran last year, or what's different with your platform for the rest of this term? How are you going to serve?
Well, my platform didn't change. Nothing really changes because we as a people understand the problems that faces our community. We know that there's a problem with the police and the police department as it relates to a minority community. There's friction there. And the idea is finding a way to fix that friction between the police department and the minority communities. So that is one of the planks in your platform.
Of course.
We also know that there are times when you turn on your water that it may come out a little brown. Okay, that happens. That should be one of the things that in your platform. Also, we also know that there are certain areas of this city that's dark, and it's dark because the street lights off. Now that's a problem, a systematic problem in the fact that in a area where you have high crime, then your light shouldn't be off. I mean, it's just that simple.
Correct.
So you look at, and then we also know that there's a proliferation of junkyards. We have more junkyards than, the law allows, I guess you might say. So, and then when people talk about economic development, you still have to, the city of Fort Myers must find a way to make the area conducive or invited. I can't say invite, but it should be conducive for businesses. That's important. Yeah, new businesses, or even helping the businesses that, that
expand.
Now, let's go back to point one: the community relationship between police and the community itself. Okay. I asked myself, why, if there's a shooting Why no one saw that shooting? Well, it's a relationship. You fear what you do not know. So let's take the police, because the police, there are ways to get into, and we got community policing and all that good stuff.
Right.
But there's a way to get beyond that. And I see advancing the police athletic league. Now, I was a coach for 22 years. One of the people in my life who had an influence was Coach James Stevens. Okay. I could probably go to him and talk about anything. So if you take the uniform off the police officer, put some jogging shorts on him, tennis shoes, put Coach across his chest, a whistle around his neck, and he's out there teaching flag football, then what do you have? You have a coach who is a police officer. Mm-hmm. There's that difference. So when that person, when you walk up to someone and you say, hey, look, JC or whomever, what did you see? Well, coach, I saw so-and-so.
There's a relationship there.
So there's that relationship that we have to rebuild. But what have we cut? We cut the police athletic league. We have facilities at the Billy Bowlegs to do whatever we want to. But we got to get beyond little things like recreation. I mean, recreation is cut first. But you got to look at the long-term effect.
Those kids don't have nothing to do.
Exactly.
What it is, the next step is, ain't nobody here, let's jump in their house, let's take some of our stuff.
Exactly, and I'm sure, do you remember your high school PE teacher?
I was a nerd. I played band, I was in choir, so I didn't really do PE. I did the required PE, but I know Coach Hall and some of those other, Coach Lopez and some of the coaches, yeah. But there was a relationship that they did have with those kids from Pop Warner on up. Those kids that did not go on to college and everything else, they did stay in Fort Myers, stayed in St. Augustine and got jobs and raised families and everything else. But that relationship is very vital. If only time I see you is because you're going to write me a ticket, only time I see you is because you finna run my plates and everything else and pat me down, you got to understand that I'm going to be a little apprehensive, a little upset that I got profiled, I got pulled out because I just happened to make the wrong turn at the wrong time. And you just felt like showing me out in front of whoever's in my car or something like that. It's a power trip, but I agree. Where did the money come from? Is to get
well,
back?
Here's what you have to look at. There's different funding for different programs when you talk about the police. It's just like every pot has a purpose.
Yeah.
So let's get more into that particular pot. Let's go back to kids. Let's go back to the basics. Let's take Sergeant so-and-so and make him a coach, as opposed to, on his off time. Let him coach flag football or let him organize a track thing. And this is so simple because it's already there. See, so now you have an interaction between the police and these kids, and as they grow older, that relationship still is there. It's still there. You don't have to worry about reestablishing that.
And it does two things. It humanizes those kids because, honestly, a 12-year-old, like the boy Tamir Rice that got shot in Cleveland, man, the cop thought he was 20.
Yeah. But he didn't know him.
But he didn't know. You're right about that.
Him.
He didn't take a chance to know him. He just pulled up and shot him.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
But it humanizes those kids. And before he pulled the trigger, he gonna say, "Is that one of my kids that I used to coach?"
Well, let's
so it kind of same thing with the police officers with the kids. It humanizes the police officer. I'm not gonna do anything or hit you because you might be my coach's brother or somebody like that. Yeah, so it works better. It works for everybody. So how do we bring PAL back? How do we?
That's just one of the things I propose. I propose to bring PAL back, and I propose to emphasize PAL because PAL is more important than people realize, and a lot of people don't realize there's a PAL program. See, so that's one of the things. And the second thing I'd like to talk about is when you turn your faucet on and you get brown water, there's a reason for that. Well, the city of Fort Myers is an old city. There are millions and millions of dollars worth of infrastructure or pipes under our streets that we don't know about. We don't think about them until they burst, and you got to boil your water or something like that. And there's a difference. We have got people call the office and said, hey, look, my water is rusty looking. And then what we do is we write the report up, send a crew out there. The crew come back and say, well, you know what? There isn't any problem between the city lines and that meter. And then they say, it must be on the other side of the meter. Well, on the other side of the meter is the homeowner's responsibility. But here's a lady who's been in her house for 40-some years. She's elderly. She can't afford to get no plumber. So we have to come up with a program for the elderly, low-income, middle-income person to basically have the means or resources to get a plumber and help do their houses. We have to do that. Now, the worst thing in the world what has happened in the state, we had what we call the Sadowski funds, and that fund right now, I guess you've heard of Amendment 1. You funding water resources, but that money originally went for low-income housing and for people to work on that, fix their houses. Now, but you don't have anyone in the legislature who's lobbying for that particular program. So the transportation forum, this money for low-income housing, that's going for Amendment 1. And we voted for Amendment 1, never realized where that money was going to go.
It was marketed as water preservation.
Yeah. Well, that's all well and good.
Everybody wants to do the right thing for the environment,
but see, that's another.
Don't make the seniors in the low income have to fend for themselves to do that.
Well, here's the deal. If you had a fund that had $900 million in it, then you say, okay, we can break off a little bit of this and put it over here. Well, that was called the Sadowski Act, and it did have $900 million in it before the state started pinching off of it. So that state money is not coming into low-income communities. No, it's no longer doing that. Or it's so minute until what do you have? You have a lot of people in line to try to get stuff done to their houses and things like that. See, and that goes back to our legislative delegation who's sitting up there in Tallahassee right now. But just like we have a relationship with the fellow councilman, you also have a relationship with your station. And so when they come down here and they're taking these photo ops out there at Southwestern College or whatever, you have to be in line too, begging to tell these people, hey, we got poor people. They got leaks in the roof and that type thing. Right. See?
Well, we have a few more, 2 more segments we're going to be talking about. We're going to get into this controversy about these early voting registration and all that other kind of stuff, and clear the air. We're just going to clear the air and make sure you hear directly from Councilman Sims' mouth what he said, what he did not say, who he said it to, blah, blah, blah. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with CTV Politico. Thank you for watching.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
Hello, I am Attorney Joe North, and I want to once again congratulate the Delta Sigma Theta sorority on all of the great work that it is doing in the communities across this nation. You know, I have been handling personal injury cases for 25 years, and people ask me questions each and every day about personal injury cases. These are some of their questions.
If someone is in a car accident, how does he or she know that they have a case?
You may have a case if the other car was at fault and you were injured because of their fault. But even if you are partially at fault, if the other car is also partially at fault, then you may still have a case. But the best thing to do, just give me a call. Let's talk about it.
What types of compensation may be available in a personal injury case?
In a personal injury case, whether we're talking about a slip and fall case or a car accident case, you may be entitled to payments for lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering. And we can get that either by settlement or taking your case to trial.
Where's your office located?
My main office is located in Fort Myers, a city in which I am proud to say I was born and raised. I also have an office in Fort Lauderdale, but my motto is, briefcase will travel. I handle cases throughout the entire state. I go wherever I am needed.
One more question. How much do you charge to handle a personal injury case?
More good news. My clients do not pay me any attorney's fees or costs unless we win. So give me a call. Call Attorney Joe North.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office, we are experts in federal tax law. Many of you do not like to deal with the IRS, but you know what? I love it. And we are very successful in dealing with the IRS. So if you have any tax questions concerning your individual taxes or business, please give us a call at 239-693-8428 because we can solve all of your tax problems. Thank you.
Back, we just having a good time here on CTV Politico. We're going to be checking during this next segment to make sure you have any questions for the Councilman Sims. Once again, thank you for coming on again, and you and Councilman Streets are very big supporters of CTV community, and we appreciate that, CTV TV. Here is what people have been waiting on. There was a big hubbub about some comments about it not being safe to vote in Ward 3. And somehow you and Councilwoman Brown got saying, oh, people scared to vote in Dunbar. It's your responsibility to keep crime down and all this. I was reading it and I'm like, oh my God, I know I was going to give you an opportunity and everybody else an opportunity to clear the air, because I don't have a dog in the fight like anybody else do, but things can get construed wrong. So I give you an opportunity to I guess, clear up that confusion about closing down the voting center, early voting, against anti-voting. It was a lot of stuff going on. So could you speak on that?
Well, first of all, let's get the whole thing straight. LaVon Sims never made any statement about that. The question was put out there by Councilman Teresa Watkins Brown. If you look back at the minutes, I never said anything on that particular issue. I know as a candidate, you don't make statements in situations like that because your opponent will try to use that as some kind of wedge against what you really said. So as I sit at that dais, I will 9 times out of 10 never make a statement as to what goes on when it comes to the elections. I have never said anything, and I don't never plan to say anything. The question was, in the original ordinance, was there ever early voting in the ordinance? I can't tell you that, simply because that was not an issue the night that it was voted upon. That never came up. However, the next meetings, there were accusations of, you guys are trying to keep early voting away. No, that was just that. It was accusation. Early voting was never an issue. Matter of fact, the mayor, who was not there at that particular meeting, basically made some statements, and I'm not exactly sure what the mayor said. But the mayor pro tem ran the meeting, and the ordinance says you will call for an election, and that was the only thing that came up. When you call for an election, you vote up or down. We voted to have an election. That was it. Now, the particulars that was in that ordinance, we're not exactly sure. So then we have the thing about what Councilwoman Brown said. Councilwoman Brown basically said, there's a perception that people would not like to come into our area to vote because of a high crime thing. Well, at the last election, there were only 2 white people that voted at Kerry Robinson Center. But it was not Kerry Robinson Center that was in question. It was the Public Works building that was in question right at the railroad track. Mm-hmm. And this was for early voting, not the general voting. So whether...
Hold up, you said it. Only 2 people registered to vote.
2 Caucasians came to Kerry Robinson Center to vote.
That was, what was it, 5 days before?
No. This was the general election. The day of election, there were 2 white people who came to vote, came to the site, to the polling place to vote.
That was on election day?
That was on election day. This had nothing to do with early voting.
So
at all,
early voting, nobody showed up from Ward 3 and early voting?
No. There were 65 people who showed up for early voting. 65. And for early voting, 65.
Out of how many people? I mean, how many people? Well, how many people in the Ward 3?
In the ward, I think they're pretty close to, I'm going to say 5,000 voters in the ward.
That's barely 1%.
Right. Well, there was not that many people who voted, period.
I'm just saying that they actually went to Kerry Robinson Center to vote.
Exactly.
That was That was a little bit more than 1% of Ward 3.
Exactly.
Now, a lot of people voted by absentee ballot. How many people do you recall voted via absentee?
I can't tell you specifically, but I think there were something like 500, little over 500 that were returned. Mm-hmm. So I would say maybe 450 or something like that voted absentee.
So you're looking at 10%. 10% of Ward 3 voters decided what was going on Ward 3. Well, basically, 90% said it's none of my business, I don't care.
I don't know whether... I would not take, because I can't tell you specifically what people were thinking when, the results came in or whatever, why they stayed away from the polls to vote or whatever. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is the fact that there were a lot of people who stayed away from the polls to vote.
How can we, as CTV and as anybody in the community, how can we get rid of that voter apathy? That it doesn't matter who I vote for, they're going to do whatever they want to do, or with early voting, with absentee ballots, with streamlined computer system that you can fill in the bubble and everything else. it has never in the history of our country been easier to have so many different options to vote, to have your voice heard. When it comes to elections, I vote early because I don't know if I'm going to be alive on election day. So as soon as it opens, I try to go ahead and get my vote in because I might not be breathing in and out. I might be in the hospital or an accident that day or something. I always come up, my daughter's sick in the hospital. Okay, watch my daughter because I got to go vote. No, I'm going to miss it. So I take an opportunity. I think that's my civic duty. But how do we get out the vote? Because same thing happened in Ferguson. We were talking about that in earlier shows. People don't vote, but the people that they don't vote for hire city managers. The people that they don't vote because they don't vote, those people decide on the police chief and how long his contract's going to be up. Those people that don't vote end up representing them whether you vote or not. So I say if you don't vote, you can't complain. But how do you get any feedback from Sharon Harrington about the participation so far with the absentee ballots? I know people are voting early now. Is it going to be much more than it? Or
I have
be about the same?
I have not talked to Ms. Harrington. I haven't talked to anyone at the elections office. I stay away from the elections office. I don't want any kind of, he was there influencing this or there. I stay away completely. Yeah. I don't do treasurers. I don't handle money. I do just what I'm doing now. I appear before the public, and I answer my phone because there are people out there who are informed, and they want to know what are you gonna do. So I answer the phone, and I talk to these kind of people. See, right now we have a water issue. Some people in Providence Park, they're paying their astronomical water bills, and that has to be addressed. So those are the kind of things I concentrate on. All the other stuff, I just don't have time for that. There's a lot of reading that we have to do, a lot of reading. So I can go in my office, I can clear out my inbox, I can read all these emails, and I can get on the phone and talk to my constituents. That's what this job encompasses. It encompasses more than just sitting 2 nights a week, 2 nights a month at the dais talking about a meeting. We have community redevelopment meetings, we have strategic meetings, we have workshops, and that's besides the council meetings. So then you have your neighborhood watch meetings that you have to attend. So this is whether they say it's a part-time job, it's a full-time job because your constituents want to touch you and talk to you and say, okay, look at this right here. It is a full-time job, and we put in full-time hours.
So your transition, being a 35-year veteran teacher, that's you brought it home, right?
It was different. It was different from teaching. Teachers don't have, the bell rang at 3:30 and the kids leave. You don't leave because you got papers to check. You got to worry about kids that you got to call parents. You got to worry about preparing for the next day's lesson.
But I mean, you got a lot of off the clock work that you got.
Right, you have a lot of off the clock work, and it's nothing for someone to call me at 7 o'clock. They apologize. Oh, well, I understand that you're busy, whatever, and I'm sorry I called you at this time, but I work during the day, so I got to call you at night. So yeah, you listen, and you also go to your community meetings because those people want to talk to you also. So it's a little more than those 2 meetings that you see at council meetings. Mm-hmm. It's way more than that. We have meetings also for community redevelopment because we act as commissioners on the redevelopment board. So you have that. And, a lot of people have the idea, oh, he goes to work and he works 2 nights. That's not true. And I'm sure you can ask my wife and she will tell you that I go to work every day. And I sit up in an office working and to make sure that if you have, let's say, 10,000 constituents, then you're going to get feedback every day. And there are 10,000 people in each ward.
Yeah. My main thing now, how do we work to get people to
vote.
actually use their voice? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. But I mean, how do you get those people to say my voice counts? People bled and got shot and got bit and blown up and assassinated and hung and lynched and and hit with water cannons and everything else like that to give me the right to do this. So not voting kind of spits on their legacy. That's something that kind of burns me up. And I like to take my kids, especially with the general elections, to take my kids with me so I can instill that in them. But I thank you for giving us some insight into what a real day is with you guys, because a lot of you, city of Estero, or the town of Ville, or Esteroville, or whatever they call themselves, just had their meeting a few nights ago, and they just elected their mayor and everything else. How does that affect, if anything, because they're not a part of Fort Myers per se anymore? They're a city now. They have their own city council, and now is that going to be a income drain on Fort Myers?
No. Here's what you have to look at. The village of Estero incorporated themselves. They were in the county. They were basically under the county government. You have, at one time, I think there was 5 municipalities in the county. Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Springs, Cape Coral, and Fort Myers. See, so now you have Estero. Now they have their own autonomy. They controls, the county does not tell them what to do now.
Okay, yeah.
They control their own destiny, in other words.
Well, we'll come back for our last segment. Thank you so much for watching CTV Politico. We'll be right back with Councilman Sims.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.
Crystal Joy Sound System Rentals and Professional Recording Studio is at your service. In association with Community TV One, the only community-based multimedia studio. Crystal Joy offers professional subs, main tops, monitors, power amps, professional mics, and a full soundproof multi-room studio specializing in Christian singers, groups, and bands. If you are talented and think you've got what it takes, we're looking for you to join our record label, Crystal Joy Records. For more information, contact 239-771-2560.
Hello, I am Attorney Joe North, and I want to once again congratulate the Delta Sigma Theta sorority on all of the great work that it is doing in the communities across this nation. You know, I have been handling personal injury cases for 25 years, and people ask me questions each and every day about personal injury cases. These are some of their questions.
If someone is in a car accident, how does he or she know that they have a case?
You may have a case if the other car was at fault and you were injured because of their fault. But even if you are partially at fault, if the other car is also partially at fault, then you may still have a case. But the best thing to do, just give me a call. Let's talk about it.
What types of compensation may be available in a personal injury case?
In a personal injury case, whether we're talking about a slip and fall case or a car accident case, you may be entitled to payments for lost wages, medical bills, and pain and suffering. And we can get that either by settlement or taking your case to trial.
Where's your office located?
My main office is located in Fort Myers, a city in which I am proud to say I was born and raised. I also have an office in Fort Lauderdale, but my motto is briefcase will travel. I handle cases throughout the entire state. I go wherever I am needed.
One more question. How much do you charge to handle a personal injury case?
More good news. My clients do not pay me any attorney's fees or costs unless we win. So give me a call. Call Attorney Joe North.
Hello everyone, my name is Victoria, your community tax lady from Tax Care. I'm here to tell you about a few of our services. Today I would like to tell you about our tax services. Many of you may have received letters from the IRS or even just need your taxes prepared. Well, in our office we are
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
All right, welcome back to CTV Politico. I'm your host, Earl Sparrow. Once again, we have Councilman Sims in the house, and we got Wind It Down. This is our last segment. So, question from Facebook. I asked some of the Ward 3 people to send me a message, some Ward 3 residents. One asked the question about what's going on with McCullum Hall, and why is it looked real good, and I pass it every time we go to church. I know the history of McCullum Hall, and Duke Ellington and all these other people performed there. I was on the Chitlin Circuit. Chitlin Circuit, for those that don't know, that was the off-Broadway. That was since the black acts couldn't really play the white halls, they can come and do the black halls because of segregation. So there was some excitement about renovating McCullum Hall and doing some pictures, and it was nice. But it's been about 4 or 5 years, I think, of passing it. Now, I thought you would see some cranes there or something going on, but can you give us an update on the renovation? Because
the construction on McCullum Hall will continue. There was a $500,000 grant that was obtained by Senator Elizabeth Benaquisto to finish some of the renovations to McCullum Hall. When the project first started, the project was basically funded with what we call tax credits. And tax credits are a hard way to fund any project because there are only 6 projects throughout the state of Florida that's going to be going to get funds through tax credits each year. And although McCullum Hall had enough money to get started, the tax credits for McCullum Hall was not appropriated in the second phase. There was part that was done and there was part that was not done. The McCullum Hall, like I said, then had to go back and get another grant, and that grant has come through Senator Benaquisto, and you are probably going to see construction start again on McCullum Hall. Now, the guy who was developing this, and he has developed other projects. He did a project in St. Petersburg called the Manhattan Casino, basically anchored by Sylvia's out of New York. And basically it's supposed to be the same thing. I've seen the project in St. Petersburg, very good project. So McCullum Hall will come to fruition. There, but like I said, money ran out, tax credits, they did not get that second allotment of tax credits. So McCullum Hall is basically set there.
So what's the number to kind of get it done? Did they have 100% of the funding to complete McCollum Hall, or they're still kind of at the depending on tax credits?
I think no tax credits. No, there's a grant from the state now in the last budget
For historical buildings?
Yeah, now when that money is going to come down the pipe, we're not exactly sure, but that money is in the budget for the continuing renovation of McCollum Hall. It's a done deal.
Are they going to be putting restaurants in there? Is it going to be a TV
Well, like I mentioned, the anchor is supposed to be Sylvia's out of New York. They do anchor the Manhattan Casino there in St. Petersburg. And Larry Newsom, the developer, is, almost assured us that's going to be the anchor for that particular, facility.
I had the opportunity to eat at Sylvia's 2 times. It's 125th in Harlem, 125th Street. I have walked in there. Yeah, Lennox and 125th. You see pictures of Michael Jackson and all these other Gladys Knight, all these, the Pips, Temptations, all these, anybody is anybody. It's been anybody in culture. And they actually were shooting those, I love my mom cooking. Mom, I know you're watching this. Nobody can cook like you, or better than you. But Sylvia's come close. Them pork chops was melting in my mouth. I was just, oh Lord, I didn't want to leave. We sang a song to him, Sylvia's, Lord, we thank you for Sylvia. It was, oh my God. The lady, it's beautiful. So I'm glad. If that's going to be an anchor, then people are going to be coming from Port Charlotte and from other places, and that's going to stay going. That's going to stay going great. Kerry Robinson Center. There was some questions publicly on social media about whether you had anything to do with that or getting that thing completed. And I think I want to give you a chance to address those concerns.
Well, see,
kind of show people how the process really goes.
The Kerry Robinson Center sat for years and years. It was just an abandoned building. It was the old recreation center. But when the Stars Complex was built, that building was not used as a recreation center anymore. The building just sat there. So what you have to do is you have to find funding some kind of way. The building is half occupied by the Housing Authority of Fort Myers Housing Authority. So the Fort Myers Housing Authority at that time was redoing, they tore down the Michigan Court and they came up with the Renaissance. Mm-hmm. The money a lot of the money that was appropriated for that particular Renaissance went into the Kerry Robinson Center to redo it because it sits on the Southwood Village campus more or less. So when you say, did I go and get money for that particular project? No. I don't go get money for any project. But what you have to do is you have to show priorities to certain people when you know that they have the resources to get it done. So in other words, to go to Marcus Goodson and say, hey, look, Marcus, here's a good opportunity to bring an alternative to our neighborhood. An alternative is to Harborside. How much money does it cost to get anything done in Harborside? It's a big bill. So to get Kerry Robinson Center into our neighborhood was a plus for us. It was not a matter of, running out and getting some money. No, because projects are not done that way. Mm-hmm. So when you say taking credit for Kerry Robinson, no, you can't take credit for anything. The city council, the housing authority, takes credit for situations like that because you remember, I'm just one vote. So those projects that are done during my tenure is I can say, okay, I had a part in that. Mm-hmm. So no, to say LeVon said went out and got $2.3 million, no, I can't say that. And I would never say anything like that. It's just like the retaining walls that run down the length of Ford Street. Many people ran into that canal many, many years. But now you see a retaining wall there. But that was one of the things that you bring to the table and say, okay, this is what we need, my fellow councilman. And that goes into your buddy like that. Also, let me stop there, the Clementi Park. Same thing. You had that park sit there and sit there and sit there. As I understand it, there was money allocated for that. But the money was not turned loose until you bring it to the attention of council. And then now you have one of the best parks in Southwest Florida. So it's not a thing of my doing something. I'm a member of council. Council does it. I'm a member of a team. And I like that. I like to be a team player because that's the way, with my one vote, I can get things done.
That's very, very important. I was told about the postcard that you sent out to the Ward 3 residents, and it was, I guess, being misconstrued. I did this, and I'm the one that blah, blah, blah. And I don't like to have any confusion. I'm glad you had the opportunity to clear that up. I would challenge anyone to come and say, okay, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I was the first one to say, no, I didn't. Council did. I coached 22 years, and I doubt very seriously whether anybody, any one player going to tell you, well, you know what? I did this and I did that. What they're going to say, we won district championships. We had a good program. And I've always been a team player, and anybody would tell you that. Well, for our last few minutes of the show, I want you to give your spiel and tell the Ward 3 residents and those that are not in the Ward 3 that are trying to influence the vote for Ward 3, why you should finish out this term and continue to fight and to do what you do for Ward 3.
Okay, first of all, let's go back to the problems in Ward 3. You have to identify your problems. Those problems should be your priorities. Problem one, the relationship between the police department and minority communities, not only here in Fort Myers, but throughout this country. Second of all, water quality, that water that comes out of the ground or goes into your house, you should be able, because core services, fresh water, sewer, police protection, fire protection, those are core services that should be provided by a city government, okay? And it goes all the way back to ancient times. The proliferation of junkyards. Why should a city as small as Fort Myers have over 20-some junkyards? That's crazy. Well, one of the reasons is there are a section of Fort Myers that was annexed into the city, portions of the county rather, that was annexed into the city. So a lot of those junkyards existed, and then they were annexed in. But there was one thing, there's a caveat to that, and the caveat was those junkyards were never supposed to expand. They were never supposed to expand, and when some guy who owned them, whatever, that person passed on, then that junkyard should have went away. But that's the question now is, these people are saying, well, I shouldn't be held to that standard because you annexed me in, and now you're trying to change the rule in the middle of the game. But that does not say, that's no comfort to the fact that my property value is going down. That has nothing to do with that. So, and the lighting in the city, there are parts of this city that's dark. The city of Fort Myers owns posts, Florida Power and Light owns posts. That's a controversy. You don't know who owns what posts. So what you have is, you have in the central part of Fort Myers, which is a part of Ward 3, you have dark areas. You have oak trees, the canvas light shines straight down on the street. So what do you have? The questionnaire is, why would you have dark areas in an area that's supposedly a high crime area? So you got to have high, lighting. And these are the kind of things that I'm talking about. These are the issues, not all the stuff that's on Facebook, because I don't read Facebook. But the fact that you got clean water, that you got fire protection, that when you pick up and call 911, you want a police officer there, all those things are important to me. Mm-hmm. The fact that if your lighting is bad in a high crime area, not only do you get the crime rate will probably go up, but you will also get situations where people don't feel bad by throwing garbage out on the street because, hey, you're in the darkened area. Also, whether people realize it or not, Ward 3 and most of the city is 60% rental. So you got to have low-income housing. That person who owns this place is probably going to take care of it much better than that person who rents. So what you have is you got to have, once again, that low-income housing component there. And these are the things. These are my issues. And like I said, all the rah-rah about what went on, that doesn't have any effect on me. Providing core services for the constituents in our particular area. There's one more thing, and I'm going to be done with this. There was a study, and the study was called the Dover Coal Plan. And what it did, it identified that there were certain areas that didn't have enough green spaces. There were not enough areas in our city where a kid could basically play. So you got McCutcheon Hall, you got Trailhead, you got Walkie over there, so that kids did not have to cross major corridors to get to a recreational area. So that when you have these studies done, these kind of things dictate where you go. Now, the constituents, how they help themselves, don't talk about me, talk to me. Once again, don't talk about me, talk to me. Been in the phone book ever since I've been back in Fort Myers. Phone number hadn't changed. Pick up the phone and call me. Most people do.
Now, the only thing that we're going to wrap up now, thank you for your time. We did not get a chance to talk about the City Council voting on getting the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to look into the situation with Fort Myers Police Department and Mr. Nate Allen, and that's something that we'll talk about in the next few shows because that's still they're investigating. But I thank you for coming on again. You've been a great friend of our show. And
let me just say this when you talk about the Nate Allen thing, because people get a lot of things miscrewed about the Nate Allen thing. First of all, ongoing investigations you can't talk about anyway. So, like you said, once it's out there and gone, then we'll have our own comments about that.
Yeah, that you guys voted to actually get it mixed, get it investigated by outside people.
Right, but the bottom line is, after that, there may be litigation, and anything that's going to be in litigation, you can't comment on it anyway.
Correct.
Or something that you feel that may go to litigation, you can't comment on that. So,
well, thank you so much for watching. This is CTV Politico. We will not be on next week, so I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Stay safe and vote. See you next week.
The City of Fort Myers has supported new and early-stage businesses by providing a location and technical assistance to new business owners. Tenants also have access to free business consulting, professional receptionist office, free Wi-Fi, 2 conference rooms, a large training room, copier and fax. Many new businesses now operating successfully have had their start at the Southwest Florida Enterprise Center. If you have a business idea, call 239-321-7085 and come join us.
You ever wanted to know what's going on in and around your community? CommunityTV1.com is your answer. Go ahead, log on to www.communitytv1.com and get your info on.